Hello and welcome to our group presentation, group number 1. The African Union designed Agenda 2063 as a blueprint of where Africa needs to go. The kind of Africa that we want. When we look at the current status of Africa, we find several problems. But the African Union puts an Agenda 2063 as a way of driving the whole continent towards the aspirations of what the people of Africa really need to do. What do we need? We need to improve infrastructure. We need a single currency. We need peace in the country. We need to stop the wars. We need cities that are built with a lot of energy and development oriented. So what we look at today, we have come up with a possibility of the future that we want. How do we get to the 2063, the aspiration that we want as Africa Union? One major method we can use is what we call the scenario planning, management planning system, which looks at the realities of today. We project into the future what we want to find out. So what do we look at the scenarios? The scenarios are the realities of today. Go to Zimbabwe, go to Malawi, go to Ghana, go to Nigeria, go to Ethiopia, go to Burundi, go to Rwanda. What you see is a common thread, the common phenomenon, the realities of this world. We have what? Underdeveloped cities, underdeveloped systems, underdeveloped mechanisms that can help us to spring the development to where we want. Poor infrastructure, growing populations, the pace of modernity, ICT, is much faster than we can imagine. What do we do to this? With these realities, the team has come together to develop 4 scenarios that can project the reality of what we want in the future, how to link the present moment and the future we want. So we came up with 4 scenarios. What was driving us to come up with these scenarios? There's a social development, the social factors, technological development, political developments across Africa, ecological concerns, environmental factors, demographic changes, economic growth, and health issues. As a team, we chose one country in Africa where we want to use these scenarios. We looked at Zimbabwe. And what in Zimbabwe? Zimbabwe, like many other African countries, relies on agriculture. Agriculture is one of the biggest contributors to our GDPs in most of our African countries. But we have a problem. The produce that we have in Harare, for example, the capital city, everything passes through a market. The concept of a market in an African setup, in our African history, is very important. The marketplace is where everyone goes, where everyone gets what they want. That's where the farmers, the people, the consumers, they all meet at a market. In Harare, in Zimbabwe, we call it Mbare Msika. Mbare Msika is one of the major distribution points of all the produce that we produce around. So you'd find people coming from all over the country, producing their foods. They sell them in their cities, yes, but Harare is the market because we have more people in Harare. And in Mbare alone, we have roughly 800,000 inhabitants. And the number of people who pass through Mbare per day can go plus or minus 1 million to 2 million people. Those people, they're at risk of health if the market is not a secure place, if the market is not clean, if the market is not developed. So we chose Mbare Msika. Lately, Mbare has been experiencing its own problems. The Msika, the market was bent down. I want to go into the political and social issues on why it was bent down or why it caught fire. But it destroyed millions of dollars worth of produce. How do we make Mbare sustainable? We came up with 4 scenarios. Scenario number 1. Mbare was bent down, was destroyed. Why? Because we are operating in what we called a Lakasa underworld. The underworld where we have very powerful political elites, very powerful social personalities who control everything. We have what you call the middlemen, the makoronyeras in my language in Zimbabwe. The makoronyeras, with middlemen, the farmers bring their produce, the middlemen check the produce, they give them cheap money and they sell them at a high price. That's an underworld. It controls everything. We are unsatisfied with that kind of world. We don't want our Mbare, we don't want our Africa to be run by the underworld. We have what the La Grande Marché as a scenario. Most of us have traveled to Europe and the West, and we have seen the good markets. Go to Bulgaria, go to Belarus, go to France, go to London. You see these beautiful markets. Go to Moscow, beautiful markets, but do we want to transplant that market into Zimbabwe? No, not without the political and social connotations of bringing a European and a foreign kind of mentality into our land. So we consider that scenario possibility of benchmarking, as we say, benchmarking on Europe and bring it to Zimbabwe. We also talked about the Zhonghua Fresh Mart, a Chinese model. Why do we bother? Why build a new idea? Why develop a new idea when the Chinese are already there? Take a Chinese market. We have seen China shops all over Africa, but we are saying to ourselves as a group, as a team of managers, we want a market, a model that meets the African Union scenario, that meets the African Union requirements of a smart city, beautiful infrastructure, interconnected, integrated model. That's what we want. So we've said no to La Casa underworld. We've said no to La Grande Marché of Europe. We've said no to the Chinese market. What are we settling for? We came up with a product. We want to come